Hello, hello. I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to my new podcast. It is called The Creating Room. I am a flutist and a flute teacher and a music teacher in general, and I've been in music industry for a while, and I think I have some experiences by now that I can sit here and talk and share some things that I've been through, maybe give some little tips, maybe create a space where we can share stuff, where we can be open and authentic about this because most of the time I feel like musicians are a bit of hush hush about stuff, especially classical musicians. Like jazz musicians, I feel like they're more open to talk about stuff and they're more critical, which is great for them. But in classical music, which is was my formation, I feel like many things are under the rug. It's all fine. We're all good. We're all talented and extremely intelligent. So let's just let it go. All the professors are the most amazing ones. We love the same books forever. So yeah, I will be talking about all this, and I'm hoping to create a community where we're really open and critical, and we share stuff to help each other, and all that good stuff. And right now, I'm in a process of making my project come to life. My project is called École de Flûte, a flute school in Lyon. For the first time ever, a flute school that is fully dedicated to flute and all types of flute from soprano, normal flute, to alto, to bass, to piccolo, to different types of music, to different styles, different books, different techniques, like anything you can think of. And I'm also preparing some other atelier. Um, but it's all gonna happen in good time. So today, what I want to talk is that I call this podcast The Creating Room because in my mind, it's a creative person, an artist, if you like to call it that way. But I like to refer them, us, as creators because I feel like everyone is a creator and everyone has the creativity. It depends if you feed it or you don't. So we're the ones who keep coming back, keep showing up to create, to make something true, search for the beauty, and just make it happen. Just keep making stuff. So the creators, I think they have a huge inner life, and I believe that they're born that way. I believe that when I was born, when I was a little baby, no idea what I'm doing in this world, I had a little urge. And the second I started, like, I remember my mom used to tell me, like, even when you were a baby and you didn't know how to speak, you didn't know how to write, nothing at all, you would sit in front of a book, a notebook, and you would write for hours. And everyone would ask us, like, what language is this? Like, what is she writing? Does she know how to write? How can she even hold a pen? Like, what's happening? And she would say that I was so focused on this thing and that I would fill all the gaps and I wouldn't leave any gap in the page and I would be really dedicated to this. It's like funny because it's a baby, but to think that I was so interested already about writing and about the book and the pen and like for me because I'm saying this with like it surprises me every time because to this day my favorite thing to do is to have the pen and paper next to me and to write. And my whole childhood I had a tiny bag that no one would carry my bag. I would carry my bag. It was a tiny bag and I was really tiny, god. And I would always carry a little notebook and a little purse where I can pencil case where I would like take out my stuff and anytime I could write, anytime I could draw, anytime an idea could show up. And then I remember the more I started learning stuff, I started writing more and I would go like I don't know, it would show up in weird places. I would read some stuff and then I would change the endings. I would hear a song, I would like it, but I would be like, I like the song, but I would prefer it that way. So I would change it in my mind and then I would change it on paper. And then my first thing was definitely writing. So I was more focused on writing and I would like come up, like if I read like a love poem, for example, I would go to my mom and say, I wrote a love poem. And she would be like, how the hell do you know what love is? How can you write about something that you have no idea? Like, you have no idea. You've never been in love. You're literally a kid. But I would be like, I just did because it's like the first things are imitating or copying or seeing stuff. The first inspirations are always, it can vary, like, it can be so different. And for me, I think it was love because I don't know, poetry is, it's like endless ocean of emotions, but love is like, I feel like a topic that's really, there have been so many great things created about love and it was so interesting to me even as a kid, and my first poems were definitely about love and the experiences that I went through, the experiences of my friends. I would write poetry about them and then I would try to translate them to English, which my English was not good because if you're not aware already, English is not my first language. Turkish is my first language. I was born in a tiny island called Cyprus, which is two sides. It's one side is Turkish and one side is Greek. And I was in the Turkish side, so I was partially Turkish. So I was speaking Turkish, but I was so eager to learn different languages and write stuff that if I want to show people, I would show. But if they find the paper that they couldn't read, so English for me, because no one around me could speak English really good, English for me was my escape. It was like a secret language where I would write in and no one would understand. So I started with writing Turkish, writing poetry. Then I think I was in primary school. I would go to school and around the breaks or when we have a little time with our friends, I would tell them like, oh, I wrote this little book, like I wrote this little story. And they'd be like, what? Like, read us. And I vividly remember, and even my friends remember, that I wrote this little story um, to my notebook. And I was, in my mind, I was thinking like, if I fill all the pages, then it's a book. Like, it's not a notebook anymore, it's a written book. It's front to back, it's a book, it's a complete piece. So I did it. So it was before my class. I think it was computer class. We used to have computer classes to learn some stuff. Wild when you think about it now. I don't know if they still have it. Anyways, I would stand with my friends next to the door before we even got in the class. And here I would read them the whole story, and everyone would be listening. And my friends tell me that to this day they remember the story that I read, that they really liked it. And I think the name was The Bread of My Mom. If I translate it, like, it's, the story was that my mom had a bakery and she was making bread, and the story was about her making the bread, which is wild because I just made bread and it's one of my favorite things to make things from scratch. Again, like, lots of lots of signs. Yeah, but I really loved it, like to create something that didn't exist and to show it to people. And people always somehow found some magic in my words. And that's why I started to believe that I had something special. I had a gift. I knew this was a gift. I felt it. It felt different and it felt valuable. It felt like my little secret, my little escape, where I could go anytime I wanted, where I would be completely free, where I was just myself. And it's weird that even as a kid, I would say, I don't know what I feel until I write it down. And it's true to this day. Yeah, then the stories. Then I started writing songs because I learned some instruments. I learned guitar. I loved singing. So I was like, at the time, I was really in love with Taylor Swift. To this day, I'm still in love with her. I'm still a Swiftie. But she was my first example. And I remember Demi Lovato Selena too, but I think Selena was not talking so much about songwriting, so I loved all of their songs, but I was a Disney kid, definitely like dreaming it's gonna happen. There was a show called Lemonade Mouth, and I would see them in my dreams every night. Like I was in the same band and we were writing songs together. This was my dream, definitely, when I was a kid. So seeing Taylor and her writing songs with her guitar and singing in front of people and everyone loving her and everyone connecting with her lyrics was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is what I should do. I should buy a guitar immediately. I should learn how to sing. I should learn piano, learn whatever. I should start uploading videos. I should start writing songs. I should start like improving myself in English. So I would go on YouTube and learn like chords. I would learn piano chords too, and I would imitate their fingers. I had no education, mind you. And I would try to improve my singing. I didn't know how to sing in pitch. I didn't know what is notes. I didn't know anything. But I had this fire in me and I started writing English songs and I started uploading them on YouTube. And this is around the time of high school, and all of my high school friends were subscribers of my YouTube channel. And I had little songs that they still remember. So it's always weird to me when someone remembers what you did, because it means that in the moment they were really impressed or it touched them some way. It was not great songs looking back, but the fact that I could just take the guitar and start playing something and write lyrics, it was the back of my hand. And because I was writing so much, it was coming to me so naturally, so fast. It was always something different. I remember I wrote a song about a crush that my best friend had. It has nothing to do with me, but she was talking about this crush all day, every day. And we would talk about it so much that it would affect me. So I would be like, okay, this is how she felt. This is how she felt. This is what happened. This is what happened the last time they saw each other. And I would write it like it was me because I would connect with her feelings. I remember one time I wrote about my dog. Like, if you told me to write a song about a dog, I couldn't. But it's the most dramatic song on the whole planet. And they still actually exist on YouTube, but I had to like close it to people because people kept like finding out in some places and comment on it or like on it. Oh, it's embarrassing. Then I started sharing stuff on Facebook, on Instagram, little things, sometimes singing, this and this. But until the end of high school, I would say, I never actually thought that I should do something about music or I should do something about writing, even though I was like, one day maybe I write a book. I don't know. Like, it was just something in me that I kept creating, but I kept creating for myself actually, because like I knew that people won't hear it. I knew that people won't read it, and it was okay for me. It was enough for me that I had it. But yeah, it's kind of sometimes it hurts you a little bit because you're like, wow, that's really good actually. Or you see stuff around like some singers or songwriters, some books you read and you're like, come on, like I could do 10 times more than this. And around this time I was like, why don't I do it? I started questioning. It was the end of high school and you need to choose something to do. And I was like really, really like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing, like they would give you this list before the exam. So how it works is in Cyprus and in Turkey in general, because it's connected. You have a main exam where you need to pass, and you can make choices before you get into this exam. It's like 2 parts, and if you pass the first part, which I did, in the second part you need to choose the exact thing you want to study on, your topic, like your exact job and the school that you want to get your information. Like for me at the age of this person, like it's almost impossible for a teenager to know exactly where they want to study and what they want to study and what they're gonna work on in their lives. So for me this was crazy. I was really depressed. I was really confused. I was like, okay, I'm good at English. Maybe I should choose something with English. Okay, I would like to travel and go to other countries, but I'm like really terrified and I have no idea. Okay, I like singing, but is it gonna ever lead me to somewhere? I like writing, but what do I know about writing a book? Like, I was like in a tiny island with lots of imagination, lots of creation, but like somehow stuck. And that's why I think for years and years and years, in my mind, I was like this stuck little child. And even sometimes when I do something and people see it, or I'm like, have a job right now and like I teach flute and I can share my ideas with people, or like I did a lot of creative things after that, and I'm like, wow, like this little child would be so proud, and she would be like shocked, like she would be like, how did you do it? Oh my god, this is happening. Like, like childhood memories, like little things like this, really stays with you, and this little child inside of you would look in your life and be like, oh my god, like we're freaking out, we're like 13 inside. So anyway, yeah, when I was in high school, I'm writing the songs at this time in English mostly, and I would translate it to my friends because none of my friends were always also speaking English. So I would like write it down and also write the translation, and then I would sing them the song or like make them listen, and then I would translate the whole thing so they could be like, wow, it's actually good. Because it was important for me that they would understand the lyrics, because that was my thing. And when I'm listening to music, also, that's my thing. Like, that's the first thing that I'm gonna realize and I'm gonna connect with. So, and my friends were supporting me so much. My class was all girls, and it was a rare thing at the time. But we're so lucky. We're having so much fun. We're talking deep, like really meaningful conversations all the time. And this class that I had, they were supporting me so much. We had a physics teacher that was also a musician. So sometimes he would show up with his guitar and he would sing to us, and he would say, oh, I was also writing songs and I always wanted to be a musician, but I'm a physics teacher and sometimes I sing to people. And so this guy was a trigger for me. I was like, do you really want this? Like, do you want to keep it as a hobby and like never actually know what would happen if you actually tried? So that was one of my fears, my biggest fears. And also, funny enough, our school was science school, and right next to it there was an art school. And here they would sing and play music all the time. We would hear them, we would hear the choirs. They would dress up the way they wanted. They were so fully expressive. And like sometimes in the classes, especially like it's a science school, so like fair, right? There was lots of like physics, math, geometry, biology, all kinds of things, and really in hard levels. And I was like really not into, like I couldn't care less. And at the time, like I'm trying to like concentrate something that I really hate. And at the same time, I'm hearing them singing songs and dancing and like having fun, and I'm like, oh my god, like why did I not start to music early? Because my parents didn't know anything and they were not advised from other people. They always heard from my teachers that, oh, she has really talent, oh, like she has an imaginative life, like imaginative mind. I would read things, like we would have like reading classes in primary school, and I would read it, and my teacher would go to my mom and say like, when she reads stuff, she really feels it, and we can feel it, like she has something special. Or we would have like some task of like, let's create a sentence where it's like a little quote, I remember. And I wrote something and everyone was like, wow, how did you write it? Like everyone still to this day remember these things that I did. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm like overreacting. Maybe I think that I'm talented, but I'm not. But these things that happen, and people remembering it and people connecting with it, and I still remembering it, and my teachers every time going to my mom and dad and saying, this kid is an artist, was not a coincidence. So sometimes you should like back off and accept it, accept that this is a gift. This is not me, like me creating this. This is definitely feels like a gift that's been given to me, and I should be grateful and I should always be humble, but also like carry my gift with pride. Like a proud person. Um so yeah, again, like another story that I'm thinking, what was it again in primary school? Yeah, I was also in poetry reading competitions, and I would always be the first one. I would always win it because I could remember so many poetry, and like I could like perform it. And I was in everything. I was in dance, I was in singing, I was in little orchestra, I was in a theater, I was in poetry reading. I was just like insane. Like, put me on stage and I will stay forever. This confidence that I had at the time, I still can't, like, my I can't fathom. Um yeah, and around the high school, this physics teacher, I'm getting distracted because there's so many things to say. uh One day he came and he gave us this list, and everyone's like choosing stuff, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, there's nothing for me. There's like literally nothing for me. And there was like all kinds of science stuff, of course, like architect, I don't know, like a wet. And I was thinking maybe I can be a wet because I love animals. Like, does it make sense? And it actually didn't, because I don't have it in me. But anyway, I think I said something like I would like to be a zoolog. And he was like, "What?" Like, you and he would always call me, this guy, he would always call me, so funny. He would call me an art person. Like, literally, like, not my name, but he would call me artist, art person. Are you here? Like, what are you doing? Art person, art person, art person. So I'd be like, it was a joke between us. But also, like, I was in choir, I think, in high school too, but there was like some song competitions and I would never be in it. I wasn't in the band. I was still not an active musician. And I was playing a little bit of guitar, a little bit of piano that I learned, that I taught to myself, but that was it. And that day he said to me, like, no, there's no way you're gonna waste your life. Like, there's no way, I'm not gonna let this. I'm gonna take you by the hand, I'm gonna bring you to the studio, and you're gonna record your own songs, and you're gonna make an album, and you're gonna pursue music. And that's the moment where my life changed. It took a turn completely. The second he believed in me, he saw something in me. And it wasn't necessarily like making an album, it wasn't necessarily, maybe I wasn't being gonna be a singer. I'm not a singer right now, I sing for myself, but like, maybe it was not what it was, but it was the road, and he saw it and he believed in me, and he brought me to the studio, and I started recording my own songs. And people who listened to it, they said that, like, they thought it was someone else's song, it was a popular song. So I was like, literally, did I actually write an actual song? But yeah, it was my first time in my life that a teacher changed my life. Someone believed in me, someone lit me, someone saw me, and I'm forever grateful to that teacher. I'm forever grateful for my friends for supporting me. My parents, they tried to be supportive, but they were really not, because they didn't understand what I was doing. They didn't understand if this ever could be a job, something that I can earn my life with. And I understand them completely, because to this day, like, we're, as artists, as musicians, like, we're scratching the pavement, we're trying to get somewhere, like, like, well, it's a struggle. It's not for everyone. It's not a stable job. It's not an easy road. It's a fight. It's a struggle. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of working hours, lots of trying to motivate yourself and getting back up after failing. And uh, like, funny enough, I saw this quote, like, that says, you don't know how many hours it takes to work on an instrument that's gonna only lead you to be mid. Because even to be mid in this instrument, for example, flute, but any instrument really, to be a mid, you have to practice actually a lot. And imagine how much we have to practice to be a professional, to be on conservatories, to be on competitions, to be actually a good musician. Like, it takes a lifetime. So that's why, like, I just wanted to talk about the beginning of my story today. And I like to learn about whoever listens to this, if anyone listens to it. I would like to know about your beginning stories and your way, and you realizing something was different, you realizing you were creating and you were in love with this, or people around you seeing you, hearing you, people around you remembering you had this passion, or maybe your family, maybe your closest friends. The first things that your first, like, scratches, like the first things you wrote, the first things you thought of, the first dreams you had. I'm really like passionate about this. I think artists are built different. I think maybe not everyone, but there's a lot of special kids that if there's someone could lead them, if someone could show them the road, they could do a lot of things. At some point, I believe that we'll leave our creativity or this free soul away, and that's always upsetting. But like I like to think that they have their own road. But yeah, I'm one of those people who found the road because of this teacher and because of so many great people I met along the road. And there were some bad ones. There were some people that were putting me down or pushing me back or like putting me back in the start or didn't believe in me or didn't think what I was doing was good enough, or it's just like some people don't see your vision because your vision belongs to you. Your vision was made to be known by you, to be seen by you, to be created by you. So if anyone doesn't see your vision, you can just say, okay, you don't get it, but it's okay. Like, no hate, no shade. Like, we don't have to fight about it. I don't have to prove it to you. Like, you just don't get it. And I'm sure some people will get it because, like, we're all unique, but we're all also so connected, and there's always space for new things. Imagine all kinds of crazy shit. Like, we all have a space. And as long as you create, I think it's all gonna be fine. You're just gonna keep growing, you're just gonna keep learning. And I don't want this to be a motivational podcast, but sometimes I can be like this because I'm saying the things I would like to hear and at the time that I needed to hear. And motivation is a big part of working and practicing. So, this is the first part of my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely talk a lot, but I hope it's like entertaining somehow and it's showing you something. Maybe it reminded you of something that you had or someone that you know. I like to continue this podcast, and in every episode, I talk about a different aspect of a musician life, a creative life. So, this is my creating room, literally. um Making this podcast in my own creating room, but the creating room is always inside of us. It's in our brain, our hearts, and our souls. So we're gonna get deeper in this and we're gonna explore what's gonna happen. Thank you so much. I hope you have the loveliest day.